CSC, just kind of run through that real quick. Page 2 for the fire runs, we've got those broke down. We had 12 emergency runs into the township, 2 in Addison, 7 in Cleves, and 4 in North Bend.
Recording in progress.
We rendered mutual aid 13 times. Were canceled en route, 7 of those. EMS details were as follows. We had 73 in Miami Township, 19 in Addison, 30 in Cleves, 10 in North Bend, and we received mutual aid 3 times, and we give mutual aid 14 times. The next page is broke down of what the runs were. Some of the emergency details, we had had a structure fire, electrical fire, some general responses, odor gas, and then you can see a lot of mutual aid, and then the other villages are broke down in that. The EMS details are broke down so you can see what those are. So total MTFD runs, EMS details was 146 for the month of August. The staffing, you can see how the staffing was broke down as far as the paramedics go. We had 6 medics, 2 of the shifts, 5 medics, 7 of the shifts, 4 medics, 37, and 3 medics for 16 shifts. And what I'll tell the board is the struggle continues. We're seeing a real crunch with personnel now. We're dipping down to sometimes only 7 folks on shift. We just don't have guys between vacation time, Kelly days, just not having the staffing, and it's getting worrisome. So we're going to have to maybe between now and the October meeting, maybe call an executive session so we can sit down. We've been preparing, a report for some options that we could possibly do. So if you guys have a day between now and that meeting where we can sit down and discuss that, I think it would be good.
Yeah, definitely.
Training.
Do you want to do it at the next meeting, Chief? You do an executive
We
session?
can.
Or
That would be
we can just
fine.
make that a working meeting?
Yep, that would be fine.
And
We could do it then.
discuss on the record, we can still go in executive session.
Yes, that'd be good.
Okay.
That'd be fine. Training, 37 hours of training. We cut some of the training back just because we were preparing
Chief,
for
what page are you on? I'm sorry.
6.
Go ahead, I'm
6.
sorry.
We cut some of the training back this in August because we were preparing for the ceremony down at Station 69. We had some other things going on too that just didn't cut into the training, so we scaled it back. One of the training topics that we did, Dr. Alt's here, we met with Steve Macon from the resource officer from the school. I had Mr. Reed come in, sit in with us. We talked about plans of, how we would handle active shooter events down there. So it was kind of just a planning meeting with them. And then the following week, we went into the active shooter training. Mr. Reed came over and helped, a long time. Hamilton County Sheriff's Officer, he came over and helped us with the training. So it really, really worked out well. So, we did some drive time, pump time, trained some more FAOs. Technical rescue, we didn't really do much with technical rescue for training this time. Car seats, we checked 1 car seat. Fire investigations, we have no new ones. We still have 2 in Cleves are open and 1 in the township. So on page 7. We're trying to look at, with the events that happened in the past months, we're still trying to find someone to put on a trench and structural collapse class, because we've had 2 structural collapses. We had one in Addison a couple weeks ago, and then we had the trench collapse, which is it's a very technical type of training, but we're still looking to bring somebody in and do those. I'll kind of get into the new fire station here in a little bit, but on page 7, if you can see, for the calendar of events. The Three Rivers School came out and held an event on August the 11th at the new fire station. There's pictures included in there. I was absolutely shocked at how many kids showed up for that event. It was a really, really great event for the community. I was tickled to death that the fire station doubled as a place to have that. There was, there were snacks provided, school supplies given out. I'm not gonna steal Dr. Alt's thunder, so I'll let him get into that. But it was a really, really great, really great event, and I appreciate it. On page 8 is our patient surveys. Joe Yanko's here, so Joe, I told you this before, he come to me and said, hey, they offer this service, let's do it. I don't have it broke down. It's one of the things I plan to do in my report just to see how it goes, but on the surveys themselves, 95% of the time, they're excellent. I mean, we very, very rarely get, one that's, somebody's really complaining, but, if you get a chance, and you can read the second one down sometime, that little lady there still cracks me up, what she had to say. And she basically just said that, we probably got...
That's funny.
we probably have her number and her house address on our wall here because she's such a pain in the butt calling all the time. So I just thought that was really funny. But, to get feedback like that with our community, I've told you guys before, I have to tell you, we've got a absolutely great group of people, that work for the fire department, and they go out and they make these connections with the people in the community, and a lot of times we become their family and they become our family. I just, I'm very proud of what the folks do. On page 9, it continues with with some of the surveys, and then there was a couple cards that were sent from some folks down at Three Rivers, just thanking us for the event. They added some pictures, so I went ahead and added those on there too, so you guys could see that. For the department, like I said, personnel issues, we have 2 names that I'm bringing to you tonight. Well, actually 3. 2 of them are in the process right now. We've brought them in. They started going through the whole process. One of them's actually a firefighter that used to work at Miami Township. His dad's a firefighter. His uncle's a assistant fire chief for the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. His name's Tyler Rui. There's a boy from Lawrenceburg come up. His name's Sam Reynolds. He's going through the process right now. Nathaniel Weber is one that was in the process last time. He finished up. We went ahead and brought him in. So Nathaniel's actually started doing his training shifts already. So, but to make it official, he was already approved. We brought him up, but he was approved with the consensus that he would pass all of his physical and all that kind of stuff. So he's officially been working. So there's that. There's 2 things that we really need to purchase that I wanted to talk to you about.
We need to approve those eventually. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Do you want to give us that?
Sure.
Chief?
Yeah.
Well, let's just take care of it.
The one was already-
We can have discussion.
Yeah, he was like pre-approved pending that he passed all of his stuff.
And who was that, same one?
Nathaniel.
Nathaniel Weber?
Yep.
So he's already taken care of, correct?
Yes.
So we're looking at approving Tyler Rule and Sam Reynolds, correct?
Yes.
All right. And that's your recommendation?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'll make a motion that we go ahead and hire Mr. Rue and Mr. Reynolds.
And is this also the pending physical background check, all that?
Yes.
Okay. With that condition, I will second as well.
All right. Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Mr. Lane?
Yes.
We have two items that we need to purchase. One is, the department camera. The department camera is used for fire investigation mostly, 90% of the time. Taking that thing in and out of scenes, the camera that we have now, we looked, I think it's 9 years old, but taking it in and out of fire scenes, it takes a beating, another way to say it, and it's ruined. The shutter is inoperable on it, so we don't have a camera right now doing fire investigations. The cost for an external flash is $299, and the camera itself is $599, and I would like to get that approved so we can purchase that.
Okay, I got a couple questions. On the one we have currently, is that fixable?
It's
enough
not.
To where we can use for backup?
We took it to the camera shop in Norwood, and basically by the time he does the labor and the parts, and has to try to find the parts, because it's a Nikon.
I know,
And
9 years old is 9
yeah,
years
he
old.
said it's really not worth nothing with, this is exact words. So,
And who's this from?
this is just the price we got from Best Buy.
Oh, okay.
I'll make a motion that we approve the expenditure and purchase the camera.
I'll second.
Okay. Mr. Robison
Yes.
and Mr. Lane.
Yes.
The next one is something that's kind of changing in the fire service. For years, we've had three units in our area that are bariatric units, which means they're set up to handle very large patients. Springfield Township had one for a while that they would do as it was manned, and they put it out for mutual aid, and they would come. It was a lengthy wait for them to get here and then have them respond to the hospital, but you know, it's what you have to do in those circumstances. They no longer really, I guess they only man that when they have the staffing, so a lot of times you call it and we don't get it. The other one is the city of Fairfield has one, but I think you might have seen the bill, Cindy. We received 2 bariatric patients that left the nursing home, and they sent us a bill for each time is $600 for them to come out and transport the bariatric patients to the hospital. So Joe did a little research, and they can adapt our cots. It's just a part that goes on the part. It's what they call it a side rail and mattress upgrade kit. So that we can, our cots right now will handle up to 700 pounds. The problem is most of the time when you get a patient those sizes, the girth of them doesn't fit. So this extension would allow us to get some of those bigger patients on that we could transport ourselves. To do that upgrade on one of our cots, and that's Joe's idea, was if we could get one upgrade and put on there, and then we could use that unit, you know, to go to wherever we need it inside the township. And to do that upgrade is $3,832. And I would make the suggestion that we would use EMS billing, take it out of that and pay for it since it's EMS. And go ahead and do that upgrade so that we've got a way to transport these patients. And I think, if you remember off the top of your head, Joe, what some of the wait times that we're waiting on these units.
Extended delays there, patient care.
Yeah, it really is, you know. Most of them are coming from the nursing home. You know, they're still residents of Miami Township, no matter how you cut it. And, you know, we don't wanna wait,
Right.
you know, sometimes up to an hour for a unit to come. So we would like to outfit one of our cots to be able to handle those geriatric patients.
Can I get a copy of that?
You have that one right there.
And who's this from?
It's from,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
IMSAR, which is the company that, IMSAR is the company that does all of our cot maintenance and repairs on our cots. There's the camera one too, if you want.
So we do utilize this periodically.
What would you say, Joe, if you off the top of your head, how many times a week?
More often than not, with the standard rails, not very comfortable for, you know, larger people, my size, that's bigger,
Flashes on the back.
you're gonna have a lot more comfort for the patients. Probably what's gonna happen is people are gonna get spoiled with that one and say, what about the others? But when you have that width, those rails have to be up, the patient has to be secured properly before we, initiate transport. So these wings will allow, for the tissue not to be overhung as much. I think you'll be surprised how often it'll be used, and the patients will, improve, turnout times and, comfort.
And we have it in the budget.
I don't know these questions.
Well, we just paid $1,200 because we don't have it. So to me, in the long run, I think it's gonna save us money.
Yeah, sort of,
I would definitely.
I think it will save us money.
I think so,
Just
too.
in a year, you pay for it, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's definite.
All right, I'll go ahead and make a motion that we go ahead and purchase the upgrade. And get from MSAR
Yes.
for the amount of $3,832.80.
I will second.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Mr. Bland?
Yes.
That's all I have. One of the, the last thing I'd like to say, I guess, is I'll let you guys discuss a little more, was the dedication of Station 69. It was an absolutely great event. We had, we did the dedication for Walt Wade. I thought that was an absolutely just, great time to do it. And I know it meant a lot to the families that were there. Just a great event. Really, really nice.
It was.
Just wanted to thank you guys for that.
Thank you, Chief.
Great job, you, Sissy, Chief of Street, Assistant Chief of Street, everyone else, so.
Did a good job.
Yeah, did a great job.
Yeah.
Any questions for the chief?
Yes, I do have one.
Yes, sir.
Chief, if I heard you correctly before, you said you're down to sometimes 7 personnel. Is that per firehouse?
No, that's total.
So you got like,
3, sometimes we're down 3 people per shift.
so how many do you usually have in a shift? 10?
10.
So you're running like 3 people per firehouse? Is that how that's working? We got 3 houses?
We break them up.
Okay.
Now, we don't have what we call minimum staffing, which is one of the things I want to discuss with the board in an executive session, but it's one thing we're going to have to look at. And right now, the contract with the union employees is we get down to certain levels where we don't have enough folks, we mandate people in. And that works, and I think we don't get very many people complain about doing it. Joe got mandated today, in fact. The problem is, I don't want to start a trend where we're mandating people all the time, because people, they deserve their time off, especially in this line of work. So, it's a good question.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Berkowitz?
Yeah, you were talking about the investigations and claims. I'm going to assume that was still the 119 North is still out there. Is there do you have an idea as to why that's taking so long?
Yeah, the folks down there are insured through a company out of Wisconsin, and we had it's a large company, and we were going back and forth with the representative from the insurance company, because a lot of times when you have a fire where there's damage, the insurance company will send their own investigator down, and they'll do that investigation. So an insurance company the size of that company has a lot more resources than we do, so they're able to come in and take x-rays and take samples and do those kind of things. And we, a lot of times, will work in conjunction with those, and usually there's no issues. On this particular fire at 119, we ran into some issues. The person we were dealing with the insurance company did not want to share a lot of their information for whatever reason. So we ended up going to that person's supervisor, and when you're dealing with somebody over the phone and trying to get through to them and have them return your phone calls, and when you're available to return all those type of things, that all ran into some time. We did just get the first bit of information back, and Shelley's in the middle of processing that information now so that we can proceed forward. So that's 119. The other one is the across the street from there, the shed fire that we had. And we're to a point where I think we feel comfortable with making a decision on that.
That's the one where the resident moved out of one shed, and moved into the other shed, and then that got caught on fire, is that the one?
That's
Okay.
correct, yes.
All right. Thank you.
No
All right,
problem.
any other questions for the chief? Yes, sir.
What, like, you say we're minimum staff and this and that, what are we doing for recruitment to bring people in?
That's a really good question, Jason. And it's hard right now because we're not competing with one department. We're competing with the other 42 departments in Hamilton County. And the problem that you have is that the folks that decide to become firefighters, they go get their firefighter cards, which is, 240 hours of training. And then they go get, their minimum is their EMT card, which is up to 140 hours of training. So they've got about a year invested. Right now, we have 2 schools in Hamilton County that are producing firefighters. And by the time attrition takes place through the training and the classes, we put out about 40 firefighters a year. The city of Cincinnati, their recruitment, they take 40 people themselves. So that leaves very few left to pick from. We just had a boy from Lawrenceburg Fire Department that come up. We've been doing some recruiting in that area, trying to get people to come in from down there. He was with us, he worked 2 training shifts and got an offer with the city of Cincinnati and turned his stuff in. And we're all getting creative, but what we've done now in the marketplace for recruiting is not only do you have departments that are, changing their pay scales, they're offering, pension for pension, vacation for vacation trade outs, and, we're competing with that. So there's so much competition right now in the workplace. And, what we have to do is make a decision for the township, what's best for the township, of what direction do we need to go with our staffing. And, it's hard, and that's one of the things that, when you talk about doing that, some of the things that we've done inside the department is we go out to the schools. So we go out to Scarlett and we interview the kids. They do it's called an interview day. I've been out myself twice, and I know one of my lieutenants has been out once. Joe actually is an instructor for him, and he's beating them up, hey, come down to Miami Township, we need help. So we're actively doing all kinds of things to try to get them to come.
Would it be worth getting into the school here? You
What's
think?
that?
Would it be worth trying to get into the school here, with Dr. Alt, maybe, working something out with him? Because, how it was back in the day, you had
Yeah.
the kids that didn't want to go to college and garner that interest of, hey, the fire department's right here.
Yeah.
That's how a lot of us got
So
started way back when.
The school used to do a career day where they would go down and they would set it up, and all the different businesses would line up, and we would go down, myself, and, we actively got a lot of people from the school, got interest, for them to come. The problem that you got is that firefighter card and that EMT card works just as well in Miami Township as it does in Blue Ash and Sycamore and, Anderson Township. It works just as good at all those places. And that's, a lot of those places have a lot more income than we do, and they can offer a little more than we can based on that. So we have to, that's the decisions we gotta sit down and make, and that's what my staff's been doing for the last month, is compiling that information so that we can make the best decision on what we need to do and where we need to go. So, and that's good question also.
Any other questions for the chief? All right, thank you, chief.